Get out of the fucking car, Amy. I'm freezing, Sarah shouted, her voice muffled by the unintentional soundproofing of the car. I told you, I'm not moving an inch from this car. I kicked the front seat in jest, dust which lay dormant beneath the fabric since what looked like a millennium burst out like a dust cloud. We borrowed Mom's SUV, a Hyundai 2003 Santa Fe. This old thing lasted our family 17 years, so a little dust here and there was expected. Since it was Chuseok week, a Korean holiday celebrating harvest, we were on our way to visit our gran and gramps. I hate road trips, but compared to the States, the Korean standard of far away didn't seem so vast. It was 5 to 6 hours tops here in Korea, while I remember spring break road trips to Florida taking 20 hours-ish. Oh, the pain. This is the only rest stop for the next 3 hours, okay? Hurry up and get out the car before I decide what you eat for breakfast. Her threats were weak. I know she was too nice to actually do anything. Plus, it was negative 10 degrees outside. Nah, I'm not hungry to be honest, so please just let me be. I didn't even look at her as I scrolled through my Spotify playlist, which had 52 followers that I was so proud of. Ugh, fine. Don't go anywhere, don't do anything stupid. I'll leave the car running so the heater stays on. I'll be right back, she said as she slightly rubbed my side of the foggy car window, standing on her tiptoes. She attempted to death glare me through the foggy interstice, but I didn't acknowledge her effort. Smack! I heard her hit the car window in frustration as she walked off. Sarah crossed the mini crosswalk and walked into the building where an amalgamation of services clustered together to make a little bit of everything needed for a road trip rejuvenation. It was a typical Korean rest stop. Food court-style vendors and many convenience stores in one open space, with giant bathrooms located outside. A typical Korean must-stop rest zone scattered throughout the peninsula's highways. I made sure the windows were up and started blaring DPR Live's Jasmine at max volume. It was my world now. Just pure bliss. Nobody to tell me that the music was too loud and no one to comment, DPR again? It was just me and the music vibrating the core of my being. I clenched the armrest and sunk down into my seat, drifting to nirvana. That's when I heard a faint sound from outside. It was impossible. I wasn't supposed to hear anything with the volume level I was using. I checked all the windows and they were all the way up. I noticed the parking lot was empty. Weird. It's usually jam-packed at this time of year. The rest stop held about 3 cars total, including ours. Maybe it had to do with the recent surge of infections, but something told me things were amiss despite the pandemic. Then I heard it again. There was an eerie sound that crept through our soundproofed car. At first I thought it was a whimper, but then I could hear humming. This time I could tell that the sound wasn't in my head. It was a dissonant hum, coming from what seemed to be a multitude of people. What confused me was the mixture of gender identification markers. I couldn't tell if the source was male or female. Squinting my eyes, I lowered the volume to see better. It became an odd habit of mine when I was looking for something while driving. However, I couldn't see where the sound was coming from. I desperately turned my body around 360 degrees, looking out all the available windows. But the source of the sound could not be identified. The music now only a whisper through the car speakers. My eyes desperately shot to the direction my sister went. Even amidst broad daylight, I felt fear. It was a feeling which I could only associate with experiences like glancing down at a windowless basement with the lights off, or waking up alone in the dark after a monolithic nightmare that makes you freeze in utter fear. The ominous feeling taking place like a lump in my body at 8 a.m. in the morning seems so paradoxical. One would think that being in a car would reinforce the feeling of safety. One wouldn't be wrong if only the same feeling didn't coincide with the feeling of helplessness for being right smack in the middle of nowhere, in a metal box, exposed to whatever was making that noise. I closed my eyes in panic. I chose the ostrich's mythic hide head in sand tactic in hope that whatever my body acknowledged as danger would pass me by. I held it closed for what seemed to be a solid 3 minutes. Then, I heard the glorious sound of rustling clothes outside the car. Ah, Sarah's back. Everything was gonna be okay. I snuck a glance at the windshield. Nothing, just an empty parking lot. I turned my head to the left window. Nothing, just an empty parking lot. I looked to my immediate window on the right. Nothing, just an empty... I flinched away from the window, hitting my elbow on the door, located on the other side of the passenger seat. Someone was there. Someone wearing a white sundress in the middle of winter. But that wasn't the only thing that didn't make sense. I could only see the dress. Our car was lifted high enough for a grown man to be at eye level with the steering wheel. She must have been way over 7 feet for her dress to be visible. The sundress was being smudged onto the car window as if she was trying to push the side of the car with her torso, constantly shifting. The humming started again, but this time it was monotone. The former sounds of what used to be like a slow whale cry turned into what seemed like 1,000 ascetic monks throat chanting at the same time. Every cell in my body wanted to scream, but instead I let out a small yelp in fear of the retribution from this tall figure. The stillness of the car was interrupted by sporadic shuffling of the dress. I wished she would stop moving. I wished with all my being. I wished for Sarah to come back while at the same time wishing for her to stay away for her own safety. That's when I saw a figure emerge out of the building. It was Sarah. She was coming back. Oh, fuck.